Yes, yes, yes. Now, survival skills is a lost training exercise for police officers in the 1980s, in which we follow Jim, the perfect police officer, who unfortunately gets a little bit over his head when he gets involved in a domestic violence case. Now, Survival Skills was one of the films that played at the Fantasia International Film Festival, and I have to say this is, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the best films in the lineup, and is boldly original and something that I highly recommend checking out as soon as you can. What a breath of fresh air. Survival Skills is destined to become a cult hit in its visceral unpredictability and where this film takes you in. It's a surrealist dark comedy that morphs into a dark horror film just in the mere chaos of it all. And what I love so much about this movie is just the pure boldness to be original and genius with how it plays around with its comedy. I love how this movie taps into the sort of craziness of the 80s and the silly tropeness of training videos back in that time, while also playing around with all the sort of tropes and cliches that we know in the police department world. Particularly two main characters that really stuck out is one, the narrator, who's consistently breaking the fourth wall in really fun and entertaining ways, and our police officer Jim, who is both creepy in how well put together he is, but also lovable and also how well put together he is. He's a fascinating lead. The comedy in this movie is so brilliant and niche that it's definitely going to be for a particular type of crowd. So if you really like comedies in the veins of films like Greener Grass, then I really think that you're going to get a lot out of this movie. And while this movie plays in the wheelhouse of Greener Grass, I feel like it's boldly its own entity, which is what I think is going to give this film its own cult fan base and its own cult status. And I'm curious to see what kind of life Survival Skills takes. One thing I love is the unpredictability that this movie is consistently putting you on. Like every time you think you know where the plot might be taking you, it misdirects you in a very fun and entertaining way. You know, I also loved how this movie taps in to the sort of hilarious ideas of what a picture perfect life is in America, especially in the 80s, and I love how this movie taps into that. You know, the trophy wife. And Survival Skills is a wild, unpredictable, dark comedy that morphs into a dark horror film that's destined to have cult status. I loved this movie. It gives you ingenious characters rooted in unpredictability, and what a wild ride this movie is. So definitely check it out. As the score goes, I'm going to give Survival Skills a 4.5 out of 5. There you have it, you guys. That was my review for Survival Skills. I love this movie. What a blast it was. So make sure to let me know in the comment section below what you think of this movie when it becomes accessible to you. And until next time, I'm the Slash Movier, and you guys have just been slashed.